Bully messes with Clint Eastwood's seat, instantly regrets it. He chose the wrong seat. And he chose the wrong man. A bully laughed. An entire bus froze. And one quiet stranger lowered his eyes like he was hiding something dangerous. No one knew who he really was. No one knew what he had already survived. But someone on that bus was about to make the worst mistake of his life. Because that seat wasn't just a seat. It was a warning. And when the truth finally came out, it would leave one man broken, another in tears, and everyone else wondering how they didn't see it coming. Stay with this story. Because the ending changes everything. It was supposed to be a quiet ride. Just another long-distance bus crawling through dusty highways, cutting across forgotten towns and fading sunlight. People boarded with tired eyes, coffee-stained cups, and heavy thoughts. No one expected history to be sitting quietly in the middle row. No one expected fear to walk in wearing sneakers and an angry grin. In moments like this, injustice doesn't arrive loudly. It slips in casually. It chooses a victim. And then it waits. Somewhere between two small towns, a man would be humiliated in front of strangers. Somewhere between laughter and cruelty, a line would be crossed. And somewhere between silence and regret, a truth would be revealed that no one on that bus would ever forget. Because what started as a childish act of bullying was about to become something far bigger. Something personal. Something dangerous. Something that would change lives. The man who took that seat didn't look like a legend. He didn't look like a hero. He looked tired. He looked invisible. But legends don't always announce themselves. Sometimes they wait. And sometimes the wrong person pushes them too far. This is the story of one seat. One bully. One quiet man. And the moment that made everyone wish they could rewind time. The bus hissed as it opened its doors. Hot air poured in. Dust floated through the aisle like smoke. People climbed aboard with bags, backpacks, babies, and boredom. And then Clint Eastwood stepped on. No one recognized him. He wore a faded brown jacket. A plain black cap pulled low over his eyes. Gray stubble shadowed his jaw. He carried nothing but a small travel bag and the weight of decades. He didn't look like a legend. He looked like someone's quiet grandfather. Clint paused for a moment, scanning the bus. Then he nodded to himself and walked down the aisle. Middle row. Window seat. He sat down gently. Exhaled. Closed his eyes. Across the aisle, a man was already watching him. Late 20s. Gold chain. Designer sneakers. Loud voice. The kind of smile that didn't reach the eyes. His name was Tyler. Tyler leaned toward his friend and whispered loudly. Man, look at this old dude. He walking like his bones about to fall out. His friend snickered. Clint didn't move. The bus began to roll. 10 minutes passed. Then Tyler stood up. He stretched dramatically, blocking the aisle, then stepped sideways, and deliberately dropped into Clint's seat. Hard. Clint opened his eyes slowly. I think you're in my seat, he said quietly. Tyler smirked. You were sitting too stiff. I'm loosening it up for you, Grandpa. More laughter. Clint looked at him carefully. No trouble, Clint replied. But I'd like my seat back. Tyler leaned back and crossed his arms. You got plenty of other seats, old man. Clint glanced around. The bus was full. Every eye was suddenly watching. Some people looked uncomfortable. Others looked entertained. No one spoke. Clint stood up slowly. He didn't argue. He simply moved to the standing area near the exit and held onto a pole. The bus rolled on. Miles passed. His knees trembled slightly with every bump. A woman in the back whispered, "That's messed up." But Tyler only laughed louder. "Man can't even stand straight." Clint remained silent. He didn't complain. He didn't curse. He simply waited. Then the bus hit a pothole. Clint stumbled. His hand slipped. He nearly fell. Gasps filled the bus. Tyler laughed so hard he slapped his thigh. That was comedy gold. Clint steadied himself. He slowly lifted his eyes. And for the first time, there was something in his gaze that made a few people uneasy. Not anger. Not fear. Something colder. Something older. Clint turned and walked forward again. He stopped beside Tyler. "Sir," he said softly, "I'm asking you one last time." Tyler stood up suddenly, towering over him. "What you gonna do if I don't?" The bus went quiet. No music. No whispers. Just engine hum. Clint looked up at him. And spoke 4 words that no one expected. "You really don't know." A chill passed through the aisle. Tyler laughed. "Oh, I know you're about to sit your old self down somewhere else." Clint smiled slightly. Not friendly. Not angry. Just, knowing. "All right," Clint said. He turned away. And quietly sat on the floor near the emergency exit. People began murmuring now. A mother covered her child's eyes. Someone whispered, "That's not right." The driver glanced in the mirror, uneasy. And Tyler? He stretched back out in Clint's seat like he had won something. He didn't notice the man 2 rows back lifting his phone. Didn't notice the woman whispering Clint's name. Didn't notice the strange look spreading across the bus. Because someone had finally recognized him. And everything was about to change. But Tyler was still smiling. And he had no idea. He was sitting in the most dangerous seat of his life. Not abruptly. Not violently. Just enough to make every loose strap and hanging handle sway gently. But the air inside changed. The woman 2 rows back leaned toward her husband, whispering urgently. "That's Clint Eastwood." He blinked. "Who?" Her eyes were wide. Dirty Harry. The man with no name. That Clint Eastwood. The man's face drained of color. Another passenger overheard. Then another. A low murmur rolled through the bus like distant thunder. Clint remained seated on the floor, hands resting calmly on his knees, eyes closed again. He looked like a monk. Tyler noticed the change in atmosphere and frowned. "What?" he snapped. "Why everyone staring?" No one answered him. The driver finally spoke into the intercom. "Sir," he said carefully, "please return to your assigned seat." Tyler scoffed. "He can sit somewhere else." The driver hesitated, then said quietly. "That seat belongs to Mr. Eastwood." The words landed like a dropped plate. Tyler laughed once. A short, confused laugh. "Eastwood? Like, the movie guy?" Silence. Someone whispered, "That is the movie guy." Tyler turned slowly. He looked at Clint again. Really looked at him this time. The lines in his face. The calm. The eyes that had seen wars, deserts, and 100 gunfights that weren't just fiction. "You're..." Tyler muttered. Clint opened his eyes. And for the first time since boarding. He stood. Slowly. Deliberately. The bus felt smaller. "Yes," Clint said. "I am." Tyler swallowed. "Man, I was just joking." "You made me sit on the floor," Clint replied softly. "You laughed when I nearly fell." Every word cut deeper than shouting ever could. "You didn't ask who I was. You didn't care." Tyler stepped back. "I didn't know." That's the problem, Clint said. You didn't care to know. The driver pulled the bus to a stop. Brakes hissed. Sir, he said firmly, you need to step off. Tyler turned pale. What? For a seat. For harassment, the driver replied. And endangering a passenger. People were filming now. The woman who recognized Clint stood. Sir, she said sharply, you humiliated a man who spent his life standing for justice, real and fictional. Tyler stammered. This is blown out of proportion. Clint lifted a hand. It's not about me, he said. It's about what you do when you think nobody important is watching. The doors opened. Fresh air rushed in. You're done here, the driver said. Tyler looked around. No one defended him. No one smiled. No one even met his eyes. He stepped off the bus in silence. The doors closed. The engine roared. The bus pulled away. Clint slowly returned to his seat. Someone offered him water. Another apologized. A man whispered, "Thank you." Clint nodded. And said quietly, "Be kind to strangers. You never know who they are. But more importantly, you never know who you are when no one's looking." The bus rode on. But nobody on board would ever forget. The seat that revealed a man's true character.